Steve Martin reveals the 9 actors who are actually evil. In Hollywood's constellation of comedy stars, Steve Martin shines with a distinctive light. Known for his meticulous approach to humor, his carefully constructed characters, and his almost architectural approach to comedy, Martin stands apart from many of his more improvisational contemporaries. Steve doesn't just tell jokes, he engineers them, explained a longtime collaborator who has worked with Martin on multiple films. Every pause, every gesture, every word choice is deliberate. He approaches comedy like a master craftsman building a perfect timepiece. This precision has made Martin one of America's most enduring comedic voices, from his wild and crazy guy beginnings through his evolution into a sophisticated actor, writer, and musician. But this same perfectionism has also placed him at odds with performers whose approaches to comedy and professionalism differ fundamentally from his own carefully calibrated method. Steve doesn't trash-talk other performers to the press, observed a longtime friend. That's not his style, but make no mistake, he notices everything and he remembers. If someone disrupts his process or treats others poorly, that person simply won't be in his orbit again. His memory for bad behavior is photographic. Tonight, we explore 9 entertainers who've reportedly earned Martin's private disapproval over his decades-long career. The performers whose approaches to comedy and professionalism place them in direct opposition to Martin's meticulous, respectful methodology. One such case was Chevy Chase, the ego that devoured the set. The tension between Steve Martin and Chevy Chase reportedly began during the filming of Three Amigos in 1986. What should have been a dream comedy collaboration quickly revealed fundamental differences in how the two approached both comedy and professional relationships. It was like watching 2 different species try to communicate, recalled a crew member who worked on the film. Steve would arrive prepared, having memorized every line, ready to collaborate. Chevy would show up with his own ideas about how scenes should go, often completely different from what was scripted. According to multiple sources, Chase's behavior extended beyond creative differences into territory Martin found genuinely troubling. Chase allegedly rewrote dialogue to give himself better lines, sometimes at the expense of his co-stars, and treated crew members with a dismissiveness that reportedly disturbed the famously courteous Martin. Steve believes firmly that movies are collaborative efforts where everyone deserves respect. Explained a producer who has worked with Martin on several films. Chevy seemed to operate from the opposite perspective, that everyone else was there to make him look good. This clash came to a head during one difficult day of shooting. After Chase had allegedly demanded multiple script changes to center his character at the expense of the ensemble, Martin was overheard saying to director John Landis, "If ego was money, Chevy could buy Wall Street." What bothered Martin most wasn't just Chase's self-centeredness, but how it affected everyone around him. A director later revealed, "Steve once told me that truly great comedians elevate everyone in a scene." He felt Chevy did the opposite, stepping on others' moments just to gain attention. While they remained professional in press appearances, Martin never worked with Chase again. For someone as measured as Steve, calling him a comedy genius with no soul behind it was about as damning as it gets. Another clash was with Jim Carrey, the human hurricane. Their tension represented a fundamental clash between 2 radically different approaches to comedy. Martin's precisely calibrated humor stood in stark contrast to Carrey's manic improvisational energy, a difference that came to a head during an awards ceremony in the mid-1990s. According to those present, Carrey was giving an acceptance speech that had gone far beyond its allotted time and was becoming increasingly chaotic. Martin, set to present the next award, appeared on stage with a handmade, "Wrap It Up" sign. While intended as a light-hearted bit, Carrey allegedly took it personally, interpreting it as criticism. "The temperature in the room definitely changed," recalled an attendee. While they remained publicly courteous, Martin privately found Carrey's frenetic approach exhausting. A colleague recalled him saying, "Working with Jim is like doing calculus in a blender." The issue wasn't lack of respect for Carrey's talent. It was admiration mixed with the belief that their styles were simply incompatible. Steve viewed comedy as a conversation, a give and take. Carrey's style felt more like a monologue that consumed all oxygen in a room. Martin allegedly referred to him as an attention vampire, believing he hijacked every moment without regard for rhythm or others. Their clash wasn't rooted in personal dislike, but in a philosophical divide about the very nature of comedy. Then there was Bette Midler, the spotlight stealer. Their alleged tension arose during a charity gala they co-hosted in the early 1990s. Martin had carefully prepared the show, balancing comedy with the serious purpose of fundraising. Midler, however, allegedly launched into an unplanned musical number, disrupting the pacing and tone. Martin, visibly taken aback, reportedly left early, leaving behind a large donation with a note that read, "Tell Bette it came from her biggest fan, silence." For Martin, the issue wasn't her talent, but what he described as performative narcissism disguised as generosity, using a charity event as self-promotion rather than for the cause. While he respected her artistry, he never worked with her again, quietly distancing himself as he had with others who disrupted collaboration. Bill Murray became another example, the unpredictable element. Their tension reportedly began during a live TV appearance in the 1980s when Murray showed up late, disinterested, and deliberately undermined Martin's prepared material on air. According to witnesses, Murray mocked him mid-performance and disrupted the comedic timing. For Martin, this wasn't spontaneity, but sabotage. He saw it as a lack of respect for the material, the audience, and the collaborative process. He later described Murray as brilliant but destructive, someone who treated comedy like warfare, breaking trust to get laughs. Martin reportedly didn't speak to him for nearly a decade, marking one of comedy's great what-if collaborations that never happened. Robin Williams presented another challenge, the improvisational whirlwind. Their tension wasn't personal animosity, but incompatibility in methods. During a joint TV appearance in the 1990s, Williams' stream of consciousness improvisations constantly interrupted Martin's scripted material, creating what one producer called comedy chaos. Martin once described the experience as trying to read poetry on a roller coaster. While he respected Williams immensely, he found their styles irreconcilable. "It's like combining architecture with jazz improvisation," explained a colleague. "Both are art forms, but they operate on different principles." For this reason, Martin declined projects with Williams, believing meaningful collaboration impossible despite his admiration. Goldie Hawn, the schedule disruptor, allegedly clashed with Martin during the filming of House Sitter in 1992. Known for punctuality and preparation, Martin was reportedly frustrated by Hawn's frequent lateness, which delayed production.